guess I should elaborate a little bit more on Florence. It was really some place to see. We really had a good time because we could we parked the car in front of our pension, and we stayed at the pension for 2 nights. And I don't think we drove the car but once the whole time. There was the Piazza di Michelangelo. We had to go up and drive to it, but everything else was within walking distance. Everything up there was so beautiful. All the roofs are the red tile, and the stores and all up there they're too much. All the clothing and leather goods and crystal and jewelry, everything up there it was just fantastic. We'd love to go back. It's such a long drive. It was 520 miles. And we drove from Florence all the way to the base down here in exactly 7 hours, and it was 520 miles. So we averaged real good time, and we had no trouble. It's autostrada all the way, so it's not difficult to get there. And I think it was the easiest city I've ever been in to get into. We'd never been up there before, and we just got off the autostrada, drove right into town, drove right up to the pension where we had planned on staying. No problem whatsoever. We didn't know where we were going, but it was real easy to get around in. Some of the artwork up there is some of the most famous artwork in the entire world. A lot of statues and all by Michelangelo. They have the different galleries, the Medici Gallery and the Medici Chapels and the Academy of Art where the statue of David is. And what was the name of that one gallery, the large gallery we went into at the Vecchio Palazzo?
The Baptist?
No. The old the Academy at the Palace. Anyway, this huge art gallery had paintings from the 13th century up to today, and they were just fantastic. There were paintings and all that you always see in history books and all. No, it wasn't the Pitti Palace. It was the Vecchio Palace. Anyway, and so many of the paintings were just things you always see in history books and art books and all, and it was just so fantastic to be looking at them right there. Plus they have, palaces are all over. They have, I don't know, about 4 or 5 different palaces that we saw. I think they have more than that even. But the whole place is just too much. I think we only ran into a couple people up there that didn't speak English. And some of the best food and wine that we've ever had was up there in Florence, too. Things were fairly expensive. Linda said it was cheap, but I thought things were extremely expensive for Italy. Leather goods were cheap compared to the States, but even then they were expensive, but it was a much finer quality of leather. But like to stay up there in the hotels, all the hotels were pretty expensive, and meals, if you found the right places, you could eat cheap, but most of the places were the same way. They were expensive. Like a small pizza would be $1.50 or maybe even $2, which is really ridiculous for here, because we pay something like 50 cents downtown for a real good pizza. And I do think the wine up there was some of the best wine in Italy, because where we live here in Brindisi, they're supposed to have good wine, and the wine is fair, but up there it was so much better because in Florence, that's the area where the Chianti wine comes from. And about every wine you buy up there, all the red wine at least, is Chianti. It's really delicious.
Well, this is Monday, April 16th, and what you just heard was made about a month ago, March 13th, 14th, because that's when Shannon's birthday was, and that's the only way I remember. David's at work right now, and he told me to do as much of this as I can, but this looks like just about the end of the tape, so I guess I'll have to turn it over to the other side before